What's going on? Welcome to Totally Blitz Podcast. We in this bitch talking Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul recap. And before we hop into this episode, as always, go down, like and subscribe, comment your thoughts on this fight, comment your thoughts on Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, the whole shebang, or even the Cruiserweight title now going to Badou Jack. Everything, comment down below. These are your hosts. I'm Paul Pickle Wyndham Concha. I got my drink poured up, and who's with me?
Going on, boys? It's your boy Prime Time Marcus Penley, man. You know what it is. Hey, we was let down, man.
Man, boxing's Lord and Savior let us down, bro.
The GOAT, the Ali Jr. Nah, I'm playing.
Nah, but I was coming in wild on I was live at Romeo Mac, and I was just like in the comments. Like before I hopped on live, I was in the comments, and I was like, "Oh, the boxing's Lord and Savior fights tonight." And then his stream, he couldn't find a stream for nothing, and he was just like, "Bro, like it's just fucking Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Like, why is this harder to watch? Like, why is my shit buffering and not loading for these two motherfuckers? But every fight, perfect."
I heard, well, it could be cap though, but from Jake Paul, he said that they did good numbers on the pay-per-view buys.
They
I don't know about
did, bro. I'm not capping. Like the way that this fight was talked about on all these different platforms and looked upon, and like this was his first non-UFC fighter. Like people really were tuning in to watch him get knocked out because I feel like even the older fights, like people weren't watching because after he beat Woodley, because Woodley the first one did decent numbers, and then the Silva other Woodley they didn't do that good of numbers, and I believe it's because people were like tired of the gimmick of like, okay, you're fighting retired UFC fighters, like you'll beat them, okay, we don't care no more. But this one, people were tuning in, bro, and you got the UK people backing them, and then you always got the Paul brothers and their fans.
The UK people come deep too, so
the Saudis were lit, bro. Them boys were over there. Mike Tyson was in them bitch, bro.
No, bro, that's another thing I was gonna point out. I was watching this shit. I'm like, yo, the stars are popping out. I think Cristiano Ronaldo was there.
Mike, Devin Haney,
Mike Tyson, Deontay Wilder, Devin Haney,
Sean Porter was talking, bro.
Yeah, he was fucking talking the fight. There's all types of people. I'm like, yo, this is a good crowd for
was Fulton there?
YouTuber.
I'm not sure if Fulton was there. There was another like a black boxer that's a champion that was there. I can't remember who it was though.
I can't remember, but I do remember those guys, and that's exactly my first thought was like, yo, this is actually I don't want to say a big fight feel. That's kind of sad to say because that just shows what the sport of boxing is. With big fights, real big fights.
I don't know, bro. I think I'll give it the big fight feel, bro. That shit.
But it did give you that big. That's what I'm saying. It did give you that. I'm just saying that's kind of disrespectful, but you know what I'm saying though. That did give me a big fight. Like that shit was talked about. I was hyped for it. I mean, you gotta respect where those two levels are at. Like they're both still novice pro boxers, but I think that was a great fight for their level, like the way they showed. I was kind of disappointed in Jake in certain things, but I mean he still looked good in certain moments and stuff. But I gotta give Tommy his flowers, man. You gotta give Tommy his flowers.
Tommy looked good, bro. Oh, joining us now, that man himself, Lil K. I
had to swipe over to see him. I didn't even know he joined.
Oh, I had to speak up for your boys.
What's going on, bit?
No, hold on. Before I'm gonna ask you, Kev. Did you watch the Fury Paul?
I was watching it on my phone.
Okay. Me and Marcus was just talking about this, so I don't know if you heard this, so you don't know our answer to it yet. But did this fight give you like a big fight feel?
No.
Ah, damn! You went against us, but both.
That's why I said the flat line.
The stars are out there. Not me. Some people I know was trying to stream this fight, and the streams weren't working because of how many people were trying to watch this fight. Like it was just like Devin Haney, Mike Tyson, Sean Porter. Who else was there? Mark, you named somebody else.
Deontay Wilder was there.
Wilder, like they had stars, the gold.
Tyson
they had people there, bro. I was like, and like I trying to watch it. It was to me
Cristiano
it was a
Ronaldo.
fight feel because I didn't. Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo. I just didn't know who would win. Like, I was literally sitting here like, oh, all that shit y'all was talking is out the window. I can't wait for this fight to start. Oh, I can't wait for this fight to start.
I will say, I think it was because it was at 4:00. So, like, for me, it was like, okay, this is just the middle of the day.
Oh, you was
But
eating
I do
brunch.
yeah, I was literally out and about, still knocking out photo shoots and shit like that. Like I was watching it on my phone, so that's why I think Mike Tyson was there, but I didn't see Cristiano Ronaldo and all the boys. But it's Saudi Arabia, like them boys don't play when they pull up.
That's why the big bucks over there.
Tyson Fury was there, but of course, knew that.
My biggest thing from this fight. Well, first off, what's up, Marcus? Man, how you living, big dog?
What's going on, Chad? Man, I was just about to say, man, it's been a minute.
I be trying to pull up to the boxing episodes. You know, they can be busier than the motherfucker. But I had to show up for this one, man. But I enjoyed the fight, every part I see. But I follow with you. To go back to what you said about the streams, that shit is facts. Because I was watching. That's why I said I was watching this on my phone. Because I watched the fight. I watched a lot of the fight. But there was many times where I had to refresh. I had to go back. I had to play the bitch off. Like, if I wasn't a master streamer, it would have been a problem.
But
you feel me?
That shit was harder to watch than a pay-per-view for UFC. Harder to watch than these big fights that have been coming up the past few months. Like, bro.
Without a doubt. Like, you have to go to, like, we can't say too much, but like I had to really like maneuver like back and forth.
You found me and Romeo Max started a thing. We started calling them, we're trying to find some good seats. We found some good seats eventually.
You know, it's
but I enjoyed the fight. I was definitely went in that bitch rooting for Jake Paul. But when Tommy Fury came out with the combinations, doing his thing, making shit look interesting. Even when Jake Paul dropped him, like it wasn't no sense in like, oh dang, maybe this round isn't his. Like, nah, he pulled one out of Tyson Fury's book. He said, yo, I'm still coming, even though you dropped my big ass. Like, fuck it. So I think it was a good fight. My question to y'all boys, do you think they should do the rematch immediately? Or would you, like, if you're Jake Paul's shoes, would you go fight a KSI, fight a Nate Diaz, fight some more fun fights, then fight the boxer again?
I'll let Mark answer. Oh, turn. Get a little closer to the mic. You're a little quiet. While he's fixing
to answer.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. To answer the question first, I'll say go to the rematch off rip. I think you gotta revenge that. I mean, it might not be the biggest thing yet, but I think I don't even want him to really fight KSI, even though the money's there, bro. Like, I get that. Like, that shit's gonna do numbers. I already know that, but KSI is also not a boxer. I think he's more or less of a non-boxer than what people try to clown Jake Paul about. KSI is like fighting like 3 dudes in one night, like some weird shit over there. So fuck all that. I don't even want to see him fight KSI for real. But I know he probably will because the cash. But I want to see him fight Tommy again because Tommy put a boxing class on his ass and had that jab in his face all fucking night.
The whole night.
Listen to Big John in the corner and Big T on the side. And like, bro, Jit was just giving him a classic boxing lesson. And like, I felt like that was good for Paul though, because he got to see what it really feels like to like be in there with, like, I know he's been in there with like sparring sessions and shit or whatever, but to be in there with a real boxer, bro, that shit is good. I want to see it in the beginning. I want to see if he can improve and show what he did wrong from this fight in the rematch. Because there's a couple things that I pointed out like that he needs to work on, like footwork.
No jab. He needs to set up the overhand right.
You got a mean left hook, bro. No matter what people want to talk shit, Jake Paul can crack with that left hook and that over right hand, bro. He just can't set it up. He wasn't setting it up with jab. He does have a nice jab, but he was only throwing one at a time. You got to double it up, change your angle, set it up, boom, then you throw that right hand.
My big issue is he didn't throw any feints. It should have been, and it was all overhand rights. Like after round 4, he was just loading up for over. Like it looked like he was looking for a knockout. Like he was, he already lost on the scorecard. He was like, the only thing I can do is knock this guy out. And the crazy part is, he didn't get the knockdown with the overhand right. He got a knockdown with a double left hand jab. Like if you would have stuck with that, you would have.
That jab was clean.
Like, and then his other good shot I liked was he hit a left hook, body hook combo.
Nice.
That was I was like, bro, you have the combos, but you're loading up with his overhand right and you're loading up with his heavy left hook. You're not doing nothing else. And Tommy Fury was taking advantage of that. I was like, okay, well, he's too slow for me. if he's gonna keep loading up, I'll just keep throwing his little jabs in his face, tagging him from the end. Back one real quick. They said the reach of this fight, Jake Paul had 76 inches and Tommy Fury had 74 inches. Saying that have you seen Tommy Fury's build? Like his arm is Volkanovski style. His arm, like he sits down, his arms is under his knees, bro. Like his fucking.
It looks like a gorilla.
So his reach was like 80 or 81 in his previous fight. So who the fuck was out here reaching people? Like who the fuck was setting up the measurements? Because that shit was god awful. But the answer,
Tommy had his jab all in Jake's face, the whole shit.
The original question though, I came into this fight telling myself, even if he loses to Fury, you should go set up the Nate Diaz double fight. Oh, I fight him one in the boxing and one in the octagon, and then go do the KSI. But after this fight, I think you got to capitalize on the buzz. Like it's like the buzz is there right now with these two fighters. And the other thing is, as I was talking to Marcus before you joined, was a lot of people, the second Woodley and the Silva fight didn't do great numbers. The Fury Paul fight did pretty good numbers. And my reason why I think that is because people are tired of the gimmick of you beating old UFC fighters. People were ready to tune in to see you actually fight a fight that's 50-50. So that's why I don't like the idea of the KSI or Nate Diaz anymore. It's because I think he beats both of them in the ring. I don't know about the octagon with Nate Diaz, but you do also have like 40 pounds on Nate Diaz. So this is like, I'm tired of you fighting people that you're weight bullying, older than, not in their prime, not this sport. This was an entertaining fight to me. Do this some more often. I might tune in. Like this might, as bad as it sounds, we never see two prospects fight each other in boxing. I'm not saying Jake Paul's a prospect, but what I'm saying is Tommy Fury was probably going to fight another 10 people that would have been shit, and we would have never seen Tommy Fury actually tested. But at least with this, we saw him get somewhat tested in a fight, and I just feel like if they start doing numbers with these close 50-50 fights with like novice boxers and YouTubers and stuff, it might force boxing to be like, fuck it, I'm tired of my prospect fighting YouTubers. Let's set up actual 50-50 prospect fights then.
Facts, yeah, bro. That's how I would see it. I want to see Jake keep fighting low-level prospects, bro.
I respect it. I didn't look at it in that way, but me personally, I guess I'm just against y'all boys. Me personally, I don't think you should go fight Tommy Fury, but because I feel like that's the fight. The reason why that fight was such a big deal is because there was 100 times that we thought this fight was going to happen. Then this bullshit went down, and this bullshit. So they made us wait for it a little bit. We had to eat it a little bit, right? So my biggest thing is I think he fights Tommy Fury again, rematches him, and he can create a game plan to beat this motherfucker. Like there's nothing I seen Tommy Fury look good. He had a lot of fundamentals, but at the end of the day, I really feel like if Jake Paul has a great team behind him, they can make a game plan to beat Tommy Fury. But he made $30 million in this fight. I think he should go out and then do some of the fun fights, do some of the stuff that kind of made his brand and everything like that, because he has to figure out a new way to come, because people are I think the number one reason why people tune in is because they love to hate him. He's a guy you hate. You love to hate. You feel me? Like the same way people tuned in every week to watch Floyd lose. That's why they was watching. That's why they came in to watch Jake Paul. But after losing, now you don't really have that same. So I would think of him to find an identity that's going to be long term, instead of just being like the annoying kid that talks the most shit and dresses like he's this, or like I think his gimmick is gonna like transform, and I think that's how he jumps levels and keeps making $30 million a fight.
Do you think that the Jake Paul, he said after the fight that he got sick and he got in trouble with a whole bunch of things because he was sick and all this? How much weight do y'all actually hold to that?
If you ain't say it before the fight happened, it don't count.
Mark?
Yeah, I believe that too. If he wasn't really talking about it, he was gassing up the fight like regular. So
I'm gonna knock him out. Oh, that's not he. At one point in the face-off, Tommy Fury was like, "Yeah, if he beats me, I'll give up the idea that I'm a contender. I'll give up the idea that I'm a boxer." And then when Jake Paul was asked the same question, well, if Tommy beats you, will you accept the fact that you're just a celebrity that boxes? And Jake Paul initially was like, "I can't answer that question because I'm gonna knock him out." I know why you said that is because of the fact that like you can't risk all the millions.
Like if you weren't willing to almost cancel this shit for that, then like you can't. You're not going. You boo-hoo nigga, violent, like boo-hoo.
But also, one bad thing though, if he did say that though before the fight, I think that would also be used like like as like a benefit in Tommy's side, or at least Tommy's camp. They could use that, but either way, he was probably bullshitting just to make it sound sweet.
Nah, deadass. Me personally, I'm gonna go with what I've seen. I've seen that you had a good fight. You looked decent. You kept it. You
I
kept
seen
it.
Jake Paul getting stuffed up by a jab all night.
It is a difference because it really showed like this person's been boxing for his life versus someone who picked up boxing. And like we saw Weiler do it, but Weiler also had like crazy power in his hands where like he could make up for it. Whereas Jake Paul is like, yeah, he's an athlete. My biggest issue with Jake Paul is he just doesn't look fast enough. Like he doesn't look like he has the speed to be able to connect in combination. So that's why I think he's at the level he's at, and I think he'll forever be at because he's the way he's built and he hasn't boxed his whole like his body's not built to box. He did fucking wrestling as a jit. Like his body's built for wrestling, and now he's trying to box. Yeah. And your hands aren't fast enough to keep up with people that's been training on speed bags ever since they could fucking walk. So that's why I think he's at a level where he'll look good against novices and maybe have some more novice fights. And maybe this is what the cruiserweight division needs because the cruiserweight division is a fucking joke. Like, to tell you how big of a joke it was, the WBC, which is what everyone regards as the best boxing, like that's the big boxing federation, WBC. The WBC Cruiserweight title was the co-main event to Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. So that's how big of a joke the Cruiserweight division is. So, like, I think he could come into boxing and maybe this fight amateurs and stuff. Whatever, I don't give a fuck. But the Cruiserweight needs something, and maybe it is Jake Paul. That's my whole thing on it.
I think everything Jake Paul is doing is to the benefit of boxing. I will say that because I like that you brought up he was a wrestler because a lot of people don't know exactly what that means. He was a state, like, I don't know if they won states, him and Logan and them, but I know they were like state qualifiers in Ohio though. Like in Florida,
Logan went to college for it. Logan's really a wrestler.
Nah, they're both pretty fucking good. But you gotta understand what Ohio is like. In Ohio, Texas, Ohio, Oklahoma, Illinois, these are places that they eat, sleep, breathe wrestling. The same way Florida, California, and Texas eat, sleep, breathe football. Like you gonna wrestle out there in the motherfucker. So to be at the state caliber that in those states is fine. So he's an athlete for sure, and he's a grinder. But my question is, let's say he gets the rematch with Tommy Fury. We don't care when he does it. He can do it next fight or 3 fights from now. If he loses, do you drop the gimmick? Is this no longer a cool thing to do?
I don't know. So I think Tommy said something in the face-off that kind of stuck with me was he can lose. They're like, is it over for Jake Paul if he loses to? He's like, no, it's not over for Jake Paul. Like you will lose to a boxer, but you can still go on and do your Nate Diaz's, your Conor McGregor's, your KSI's. Those are still options because you know why? They're not boxers. So you can still do all these fun super fights, but at the end of the day, you're not a boxer. And when you come to boxing, you got to understand that like there's a different level. So I do think he can continue the gimmick, especially with these other guys like Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, and he's off. Like he just paid Tommy Fury $4 million for this fight. There is no other prospect, or no, because Tommy didn't sign the contract to double it.
Oh, that's crazy.
So he got the $4 million. So that by the end of the day, like there's some champion fighters not getting no fucking $4 million in boxing for a fight. like
I think he got like 7.
Yeah, like all I know is there are some champion fighters not like fighting for $1 million. Like so, like UFC is the same way. Like some UFC fighters ain't getting nowhere near the amount of money that Jake Paul is willing to offer these fighters. So like I think he could still have a good career in that. I would like to see him in boxing. I would like him to get a little bit better. I like him to get like 2 years from now, if he fights like because the crazy thing is like the cruiserweight champion is Badou Jack. I think Badou Jack versus Jake Paul might be a 50-50 fight. And the only reason I say that is because Badou Jack is like 38 years old. And like the cruiserweight champions typically are people that are smaller weight classes that they aged, they got beat, they couldn't do nothing in that weight class anymore. So they moved to cruiserweight where there's no real competition. Like the fucking cruiserweight champion was 38-year-old versus a 40-year-old. Like, so that's just so like Jake Paul in his prime, that would be a fun fight. Like Badou Jack might crack him, but Jake Paul could land and crack his old ass too. So like that's why I think those boxing fights are still on the table, especially because he's a cruiserweight. If he weighed 147 pounds, fucking throw that boxing career in the fucking trash. Like if you're in the lower weight classes, then fucking it's over, bro. You're not beating none of these upcoming boxers. But just because he's 200 pounds, that door is still open.
I just hope dude keeps taking boxing like serious and doesn't go back to. I mean, I'm sure he is because the money is there, but I don't want him to see him fighting MMA guys. I don't want to see him versus anyone else.
But what if it's a
but
double fight?
boxer.
What if it's a double fight? Like one in the ring.
That I'll take that because I would like to see him in the octagon, bro. That would be tough. But I just want him to see his boxing career, like but if he admits like, all right, I'm not gonna be doing like the real. Like, I don't want to be like a contender. I don't want to be like I don't like him to get a title ever, but I'm just saying, like, if he stops going that route, then it's okay. Go fight all these other dudes for all these big checks. But I want to see his real boxing career and get maybe even better coaches or like keep being in the gym. He's only like 26, bro. Like that man could really do something if he stuck it out. And
I will say right now, my bad. I was gonna say real quick, I'll let Kev go. Is if you gave me Jake Paul versus Berlanga right now, I'm picking Jake Paul 10 times out of 10.
The only one that I would just be worried about Jake Paul's chin because Berlanga can crack still, but I know what you're saying, bro. Like Jake Paul is like that. I feel people sleep on Jake Paul, man. I don't know. I see improvement.
What if Tommy Fury goes on to be world champion? Like, are we looking back at this differently?
Yeah.
Are you looking at it differently, Kev? If Tommy Fury went on like a run, because I mean he's still undefeated, still 23 years old. What if he goes wins a champion belt at like 28? Are we looking back at this fight a little differently?
That's actually a great question because I don't know because like it depends on like when he gets it. I think in like his progression because Joe Rogan thinks he's like an official because before this fight everybody kind of looked at him like as a sherm. Like we was looking at him like, you're not really like that for real. Like, and except Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's like, bro, y'all some fucking idiots. You're a fucking idiot. Did you guys see that clip? You're a fucking idiot. He's a boxer.
He was arguing with Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy was trying to say he's not a boxer.
And I was like, well, he kind of is a boxer. You feel me? But I don't know. I really don't know how I look at that. Because, like, if he goes on to improve his skills, we'll look back like, oh, damn. Jake Paul not only fought a boxer, but he fought a future champion. Like, that's just crazy. It's like when you look at Conor McGregor's resume. Like, he beat Dave Poirier way back in the day. He beat
Max Holloway when he was a baby.
Yeah, he beat all the young niggas early. Like, you feel me? Now you look, and it's like, oh, shit. Yo, Conor McGregor might be top 10. Like, I don't know, man.
That boy got a resume.
Yeah, age is like fine wine.
But it's like crazy because maybe this is what pushes Tommy Fury to say, yo, I'm a boxer and I'm actually like him. Like, let me get to it. I
hope it does boost Tommy and give him confidence and he keeps going too.
But I don't want to see Jake Paul in an octagon for nothing. You understand that, like, BJJ was invented so for smaller people to kill big motherfuckers. I don't care who you put him in the octagon with. If you're putting him against somebody that has practiced BJJ for 15 years, he is dying.
See, my thing is with the octagons, two things. One, Tommy Fury already a champion, boys. He's the Dariah belt holder. All right.
I was holding that shit like he won the world title.
Pride.
He pulled up home. He pulled up to the crib with the belt still on his shoulder, bro. I was like, nah.
He was wearing that during the airport. People were like, "Are you the champion?" He was saying, "Yeah."
I think I asked Romeo Mack this question. What belt holds more weight? The WBC get the belt, right? Yeah, the WBC Dariah belt or the WWE United States Championship.
Oh, I thought you was gonna say the BMF belt in UFC.
No, I'm getting the United States belt. I'm getting the United States belt around my waist every time.
Yeah, the US belt.
Which one? The old one?
The one Kurt Angle used to rock.
Oh yeah, I'm taking that every time. Fuck all that.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna lie to you. $7 million came with that motherfucker.
Oh,
yeah. You gotta remember. You got $7 million. Like if you're not thinking about the win, you can at least think like, yo, I got $7 million in Saudi Arabia. Fuck y'all niggas.
Imagine your bank
That's
account
true.
at like fucking $2,000, and then all of a sudden after the Jake Paul fight, that shit says 7 million and $2,000. That shit's just nutty.
Right. And I don't even know what the taxes like are out there in London. Or like, I know they fought in Saudi Arabia, so I really don't know how
And
those taxes
the
go.
other part with the octagon stuff is I would want to see him in the octagon just to see how it goes. But I do agree. The Nate Diaz fight interests me only for the reason of will Nate Diaz actually train? Because it's similar to Ben Askren. Because like I can see Nate Diaz not giving any respect to Jake Paul in the octagon, and like he fucking just goes in there. And we've seen his brother Nick when Nick did his comeback fight earlier last year, and he came in like 20 pounds overweight because his ass wasn't cutting weight and shit. And like then they had to make it a catch weight fight. All that shit happened. I could see Nate Diaz now retired and shit, just being like coming in heavy, a little belly on him, fucking in.
Yeah.
They're showing Jake Paul in the back working on the pads before the fight starts, and it goes over to Nate and his ass and the brother is like smoking some fat ass blunts on the couch watching the TV still. Like that, I just want to see how serious would Nate take it. If he takes it serious, I like him to submit him easily, especially when Jake Paul gets into wrestling control, gets a little overconfident. The next thing you know, his arm's fucking over here and he's choked out. But if he doesn't take it serious, I could see Jake Paul the fucking like the fucking it'd be Jake Nurmagomedov. You know what I mean?
But we watched. This is Nate Diaz we're talking. I'm talking nigga that just submitted Tony Ferguson. Nigga,
Nah.
we over here looking at the same person that we over here looking at dude and us on the side like, oh man, all right, this is gonna be a great late round. Let's go see what Nate Diaz is doing. This is all you see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Jake Paul could drop him 4 times, but then all of a sudden Nate Diaz stops and slaps his ass and walks off like this, like
walks away.
Nigga will get motherfucking. Jake Paul could literally crack him to the point where it's like, oh shit, they almost stopped it. He's gonna get up and be like, hit his walk. Nah, that's crazy. But at the end of the day, Jake Paul is a great athlete. I respect him. He's a great businessman. And it's going to be interesting to see because I don't expect a long career out of Jake Paul. Because one thing about us is niggas is pretty out here. You feel me? You can't be fucking up your face too long and fucking up your brain too much. You feel me? So, like, I don't see him going past. How many fights is he at now? Like 7?
7-1. I think 6-1 or 7-1.
I don't see, bro. I would say I don't see him going past 10, but I really don't see him going past 15. 13, I'll meet you in the middle, 12 and a half. I don't. If that's the over under, how many fights will Jake Paul fight in his career? I'm taking under 12 and a half.
All right. And
that's a good question.
Last thing before we head out, I didn't expect this episode to be this long, so I'm gonna try to wrap it up here. Final question. Tommy Fury's now ranked at cruiserweight. I mean, Mauricio, that fucking schemy, slimy, shady motherfucker Mauricio at WBC. He promised Jake Paul a cruiserweight ranking. Instead, Tommy won. Tommy gets the ranking. Do y'all think, we talked a lot about Jake Paul and his future. I'm going to ask the question about Tommy before we head out. What do you think Tommy's future is? Is he just going to entertain the KSI Jake Paul fights because he knows his limit? Or is this a new awakening and he likes the feeling of like, oh, I feel like a champion. Like I just did a pay-per-view. I just did a fucking main event. Like does this awaken him to be hungry to want more?
I think that whole entire Fury family is some crazy motherfuckers. You feel me? If you give them boys one shine of light to go be great, they'll go do that shit. We saw Tyson Fury come back. We saw Tyson Fury beat the shit out of Klitschko, get addicted to drugs, get overweight, and come back and beat the shit out of Wilder 2.5 times. So, like, if he lets this fire go, he has 2 ways to look at this. Yo, I finally got the respect as a boxer. I'm a fucking champion. Blah, blah, blah. He's going down fast. He's only going downhill. But if he looks at it like, yo, niggas finally going to put some respect on my name. I'm 10-0 already. Let me keep getting better. Fuck this fight. Here, y'all keep this stupid ass belt. I'm about to go in the gym and because my dad is a fucking legendary coach.
Whoa. This is boxing. They don't ever throw a belt away. All right. Even if they lose that belt, they'll walk around with that bitch. Ask David Benavidez.
They gonna rock that bitch. Nah, I mean, Tommy, I gotta give this probably his best camp that he put together, and it showed. But I also is not trying to gas Tommy because Tommy still probably get fucked up by a lot of guys in that cruiserweight division, even though it's still pretty weak. But But if he keeps working, like because he got up for this fight, clearly, like Jake Paul literally, you could tell that he got up for this fight, and him and his daddy put on a good camp. So as long as they maybe stay on that route, he could turn his career around. I mean, he can't even stay around because he's still a young guy. He's only 23, 5 fights, 6 fights, whatever. But I think this definitely could be a boost. But I don't know about negotiations though, bro. Because if he goes and try to fight a scrub, is he gonna try to ask for the bag now? Because he did this pay-per-view. So like, I wonder how that would go.
Hey,
Oh, you know, he's for a bag.
that's a good question. Also, not even like, does he even go fight a scrub after this? Like
That yeah, that's another thing.
Is your time of fighting the 0-30s and the 2-14 type of guys over
Yeah,
with?
now more eyes might be on him. You
You're
can't be
ranked.
fighting a fucking trash can that is 2-25 and gets beat up in the gym every day. So you can't be doing
Yeah,
that.
now it's like after this fight, is it like you're ranked in at WBC Cruiserweight division. Like Tommy may have to fight like decent opponents. I would love to see Tommy Fury go on a run, because the only issue I ever see with Tommy Fury is no one ever is like, when before the fight I was on this like Tommy's a Sherm, and everywhere the whole reason why he's a Sherm, and I was rereading it and saying the same shit, was because he didn't take boxing seriously. He was out partying all the time at clubs, with girls all the time, instead of being like focused in
Because
the
he already had the clout.
yeah. So, and he had the pretty boy reality image going. So it's like, I had never heard anyone being like, Tommy can't box. Tommy doesn't have this. Tommy doesn't have that. Yeah, he was going to decisions with scrubs, but it was always back to the idea of like, he's not taking it seriously. So like, if this fight does spark the seriousness that he needed, I don't know if he doesn't have the world championship caliber level. Like, this is a fucking Fury we're talking about right here. Like, so
Crazy motherfuckers.
I have never heard anyone sit here and be like, oh, the reason why Tommy can't be champion is because he lacks a jab, or he lacks power, or he lacks footwork, or he lacks speed. This motherfucker got an 80-inch reach for a fucking 170 type, 180, 170, like 180, 200-pound guy. 80 and he has insane reach, like a heavyweight reach. And it seemed like he has a jab that can probably work a lot of people. So I don't like really, this fight changed my whole view on Tommy. Like Tommy, if he really, because like we saw the pre-fight pictures of his last fight, he looked like a little fat. But the pre-fight pictures against Jake Paul, homeboy was cut, toned, looking fucking like a warrior. And I was like, if this is the Tommy Fury we get for the next 5 years, who knows?
I fuck with it. But hey, still shout out my dog Jake, man. Nobody got fucked up. This is a win-win fight for me because I thought they actually bet on the whole, like, you get your purse, you lose your purse, so you get double. I thought they really bet on that. So like, motherfucking, I was like, hey, bro, regardless, I'm finna enjoy this shit.
Now, I enjoyed the fight. My only issue is that they're talking the rematch, and like Tommy's side is talking about, yeah, next fight will be a stoppage. And like, I just don't think Tommy has power to stop people. So like, you can beat people. I don't know. I think it's more of a boxing issue. I get tired of boxers when they talk about, yeah, I'm going to get the finish in the first 3 rounds. It's like, bro, shut the fuck up. Like, you haven't gotten a finish in the first 3 rounds in like 6 years. Like, let's just stop talking about you're going to, like, let's be realistic. Like, talk about, yeah, I'm gonna whoop his ass for 8 rounds and I'll get the decision win again. Like, don't sit here and act like you're fucking Deontay Wilder all of a sudden. Yeah, I'm going to get a stoppage in the first 2 rounds next time. Like, no, this is fucking stop lying.
Slow down, buddy.
You got too much dip on your chip, bro. Like, relax.
Hey, I'm gonna need y'all to chill. I'm gonna need you to chill with the Deontay Wilder references, because like, you're gonna make me start asking questions. You know, it's been a minute since I've been on the boxing thing. We're gonna turn this to a 2-hour conversation, Paul. You know, niggas gotta work in the morning.
Yeah. So we do got work in the morning. We put in work here. The boys put in work on Sunday, which is crazy. All of us thought the fight was Saturday. I got my dad ready. Next thing you know, I find out fight Sunday. But you know, that's the problem child for you. We saw Tommy Fury get the I didn't even ask this question. Did y'all think it was a split decision, or did y'all think he should have got the unanimous decision?
Bro, that judge was drunk. They had my nigga Sal at that motherfucker. They said,
yeah, but they had Marcus judging that bitch.
They was like, yo, like, okay.
They gave like 5. They gave 4 or 5, and I think 5 or 6 rounds of Jake Paul. That one judge. I was like, oh, what?
Anytime anytime I see robberies outside, I think that's one thing about boxing outside of America. Like, I do not know if there's any such thing as loyalty to the game. Like,
hey, as Marcus, I'm with Marcus. What was my prediction on this fight?
The draw, man.
I
Bro,
picked
it's
the
close,
draw.
but
Bro. When I saw the knockdown in the last round, I was like, oh, the draw's in. Like, it's over for. Like, oh, all you need is a knockdown. Boxing judges are gonna do the rest.
Wasn't it open scoring after the 4th round?
It was open. So after the 4th round, they would show the fighters what their the scores were for the first 4 rounds. But they didn't show it till the 6th round, which I thought was weird. I thought they should have showed it after the 4th round. But in the 6th round, they showed that it was Tommy up on like 2 cards, but barely, like by 1 round, and Jake was up on the other. So that had people like kind of like, what the fuck is that third judge seeing? Like, how the fuck is Jake up on one? But I think it's been a unanimous decision, even with the knockdown. But as a man who had a bet in, the moment he got the knockdown, I was like, "Oh, it's boxing, baby!" And Jake Paul's the owner, promoter, everything. Like, yeah, the draw is in, and then when I saw a split decision, I was like, "Bro, I was this close." Like that. That's one judge is getting 1 less point on the card.
That's actually interesting. I'm not a fan of open scoring. I'm not gonna lie to you, because like I actually wrestle, so like I've seen too many motherfuckers stall out them last 2 minutes.
See, I like open scoring, but I can see how that's an issue. You have a fighter that stalls that kind of uses it against him.
Imagine being up 1-0 in the state semifinals. You gonna stall that bitch out that last round. You not doing
I could
shit.
definitely see that. I could definitely see that, especially in boxing and MMA. Like, you know, you're up. Like, oh, I'm just gonna fucking wait till the judges win.
I'm telling you.
But all right, we kind of went over on our episode. I think it was a good ass episode, boys. I'm happy Kev got to join us on the recap. We haven't seen Kev in the boxing world in probably like 6 months, and we haven't seen Marcus in the UFC world in about 6 months. So this is when 2 worlds collide, just like we saw with the YouTube versus boxing and Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. And we didn't talk about it, so I'm just gonna hit it real quick. Badou Jack is your current WBC World Cruiserweight Champion. He beat Olanga Makabu. I called Jack. I think Marcus called Makabu. As always, I'm Paul Pickin Winham. And this has been Totally Blitz Podcast. I'm joined with Marcus, Primetime Penley, the boxing guru, and special guest for this episode, Lil Kev, Don PYE, putting the K's up himself, Mr. UFC. But as always, this has been Totally Blitz Podcast. This was the Fight Club. We recapped it for you, and we'll see you next time.
Measurements, plug here, let them in. Passing out the medicines. We've been on that rock star regimen, knowing that I'm heaven sent, higher than I ever been. I got a problem with being problematic. Get the light beam on me, ready for electrostatic. Don't you step into this box if you're not batting. Then my gang got tools, you can call them boy crap. Man, this gang got rules, man, you better watch your passes. This ain't not new. And see some accent, all I say is true. You better stop your capping, lacking really your ass all in